Number one is start off with a basic audio-only podcast. I advocate a Samson Q2U microphone, a just nice microphone windscreen, and a boom arm. You're talking about roughly £100 to start off with. Many people have what's called a condenser microphone. They have maybe a boardroom with a big microphone in the middle that picks up people nicely, but it also does a great job of picking up room echo as well, and everything else that happens to be going on in the room. So it's not an ideal podcast microphone. The best type of podcast microphone, if you're working from home, if you're working from an office, is a dynamic microphone because it doesn't pick up too much noise from around. So that's the type of microphone that I recommend to begin with. So master the art of doing a simple pre-recorded podcast to begin with, using relatively basic equipment that can still result in decent sound. It'll take 20 episodes or so to find your voice, to find your style that you want to produce, but you'll get there. And then after you do that, step two, after about 20 episodes or so, is then you can focus on production quality a little bit more. I've got a better microphone. I've got an RE20 microphone. I've got a Rodecaster. You can start to use more professional type of equipment after that. You can start to bring in bumper noises, different elements. What's
a bumper noise, David?
Bumper noises are
secret software.
Things like that. So we didn't plan that beforehand, but
no,
I've always got everything hooked up.
Brilliant.
Thanks for the leading question there. But you can actually start to have fun doing it, and you can also make the production of your podcast more efficient as well, and that you don't have to add your intros and outros afterwards as well, so you have to do less editing afterwards. We're still doing audio-only podcasts at this stage, but then step three, turn on your camera. But don't go live yet. So turn on your camera. I used a Logitech C920 camera to begin with.
That's what I used.
And that's a lovely, basic, starter microphone, webcam. Sorry, and it's high definition. It records in decent quality. It's got autofocus on there as well. If you're wanting to spend a little bit more and ensure that your video is a reasonable standard, then lighting's the next step. There are three important lights to think of. One is a key light. Obviously, if you're watching this on video, you'll see that the top right-hand side of my face is best lit. That's where my key light is. There's then something called a filler light as well, which comes opposite the key light, but that's less light, it just fills in a little bit of shadow. And then there's something called a rim light at the back. So just at the back of my hair, I've got a little touch of light there. You can hardly notice it unless I point it out there. And of course, I've got a few lights in the background there as well. That's something that can really make a Logitech C920 camera look a lot better simply by better lighting. But at this stage, I mentioned you're not going live. You're using the camera as pre-recorded. So if you're recording a podcast, if you're having discussions with someone, you don't need to think about an audience or anything like that. Don't need to think about the technicalities of live streaming. Get comfortable with recording a video before moving on to step 4, live streaming while you podcast. Then you're comfortable with video. Then you're at the stage where you can do things like engage with the audience. You can look at questions coming in. You can not be thrown off by questions coming in. Still stay focused on what your guest is saying, but read what the audience is saying at the same time, and at the right stage bring in the questions.